So you're planning on doing a year abroad and thinking of working. Here's a real insight into the internship experience, from finding the job to finding a work-life balance. Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm a PalTV foreign correspondent. I've just spent 6 months working in communications, and this is Emily in Paris versus the reality. There's definitely a few different reasons as to why you'd want to find your own internship over the British Council or study route. I personally chose this because I wanted to explore different workplaces and jobs before leaving Durham, as I hadn't had much experience before, and generally just to afford living in Paris. Those are my reasons, but definitely should consider British Council, as generally there's a bit more of a secure pay, you actually don't work as much as other contracts you may be offered, and studying gives you a lot more social time, depending on the company that you go with. I started looking for roles around October of my second year. I applied to maybe 15, and by February I was offered a 6-month internship in Paris doing creative communications. So I found this by looking at the Blackboard list. So if you're a modern languages student, you actually get given a big list of companies that have previously employed year abroad students. My tactic was to find them on LinkedIn, for example, set a notification, and then whenever they posted their roles for the next year, I applied. If you don't have this, I really recommend getting in touch with the MLAT department or finding someone in the department to help you get the list, as it was really useful. So depending on whether you have a British passport or an EU passport, the visa situation can be quite expensive. To get an appointment and then to get your visa sent to you, and then even to register your visa once you've arrived in France, this all adds up. So definitely keep that in mind when you're looking at budgeting for your year abroad, because it generally will be a bit more expensive than if you were to just stay in Durham. The other thing is with accommodation, I would recommend being really thorough if you're going through a private landlord or renting site. But lots of people used Airbnb or the student cruise website, as well as student rents and general websites like that, but definitely be aware, as I've known people to be scammed, unfortunately. But then, once you've finished with all of the French bureaucracy, you can start your work. So one of the things that was actually quite similar to Emily in Paris was a few days before starting my work, I was sent an email saying, don't bother turning up early, really, because we won't be there. So yeah, they're generally quite chill in France. I think our bosses would do the same hours that was required, but just start around 10 if they wanted, which is really nice actually for working in a corporate workspace for the first time. The other thing was the company, I think many companies do this, is they would offer, or they'd give you 50% off of your Navigo pass, which in Paris is what you use for transporting everywhere. And we were given money for our lunches, which I think just encouraged the company to sort of have 1-hour lunches out and have takeaways rather than sitting at your desk and eating, which is something I'll definitely miss when you start working again in the UK. And yeah, it was definitely unexpectedly like Emily in Paris in a way. So when it comes to speaking the actual language when you're there, my team in my office was actually all English speaking as an international comms team. If you think you might be in this situation as well, there's no need to worry. There's different ways to get exposure to the language while you're there. For example, I joined a field hockey team, which was really good. Everyone spoke French there. Also, you can try things like speaking French to people when you meet them, and therefore that language sort of carries on if you make an effort. It's definitely quite difficult, but even teaching French, for example, if you get a role teaching, assistant teaching, that can give you much more exposure than you think, so I wouldn't panic about that. Basically, whatever you put into it is what you'll get out of it. While you're in France, there's definitely ways around still being in an English-speaking situation. You can definitely push yourself to find French-speaking environments while you're here. Durham actually doesn't expect you to do too much when it comes to academics, so our year's had one project to complete by the end of this summer, so a lot of time to complete a small project, unlike other universities who have ongoing deadlines, or they're studying in the other country actually does count, so we don't have that. Also, when you get your visa, you actually become an EEA member, which means you get access to monuments, to museums, to tourist attractions all across the country, which is amazing, and something you don't get as a British tourist or as a student not of the EU. Also, I found everything was much cheaper than in London, so social life wise you might find that you're spending less, which is also great. Also, I don't think the stereotype of Parisians being mean to French learners is true. I personally had a great experience trying out different sentences and trying to talk to new people. Generally people were really, really nice, so yeah, definitely don't worry about that. It's a great place to still learn your language. some of the Emily in Paris magic is true. I mean, if you're living abroad or in France, it does help you get through a cold and dark winter. If you're working, you'll find it really rewarding. So you definitely just have to think about what specifically you want to be doing with your time there. I've definitely started to think more about my time after Durham, which is quite a scary idea, but I think since working and spending time away, it does make you consider what you want after your time in Durham. Well, this is some general advice and a general idea of life in Paris and in France. Definitely consider talking to people in your year above, people who have gone to the same country as you or study a similar subject. Every year abroad is completely different and people have lots of different experiences, but generally what you put in is what you'll get out. So overall, while I didn't get exposed to French 9 to 5 maybe in my work, I still found it really worth it doing the internship. While I wasn't studying the language, I definitely still got a really good insight into the workplace and what it's like to work in France as an employee, which is definitely something I'm considering now for the future. Definitely consider whether you are wanting to improve your language, and if you get given a role that seems like it might be English speaking, maybe research a bit more into that and see what's important for you when looking at where you're going to be working. So if you've decided you're working during your year abroad, good luck. I think you'll really enjoy it. I've left some links in the description of some of the resources I've mentioned, but keep in mind that the university is also there to support you during your preparation and during your year abroad. I hope this video has helped get rid of some anxiety that you may have had or any fears about working abroad. It might not be exactly like Emily in Paris, but that's probably a good thing.